What's up, Nightwalkers? I've got another FLIR for you today. This one is the Scout 3 240. I was lucky enough to borrow this one from somebody, and it all started because I expressed some interest in how well these Scout 3s worked. Now, besides this 240, there's a 320 and a 640. Now, the 640 is going to be the best performing one out of the bunch because it uses a 640 sensor. And the only difference between the 240 and the 320, this 240 unit, it doesn't have a video output on it, so there's no way to capture video from using the device, whereas the 320 does have a video output, and the 320 has a digital zoom, whereas the 240 doesn't. So far in this one, I can't see how to do that. What the 240 does have is a way to capture a shot, and basically it freeze frames it so you could analyze it a little bit better. It comes with this really nice padded case that does a good job of protecting the unit, and on the back there's some MOLLE so you could attach it to something. And so the unit itself, you know, every Scout is identical in terms of the functionality of it. So here's your power button, this is your charging port, display brightness, color palette, so this changes it from white hot to black hot, outdoor alert, and there's 4 insta alerts on this particular model. And then this button is your freeze frame. So instead of like zooming on something like the 320 or the 640 units do, this will basically freeze frame a shot for you so that you can analyze it a bit better to see what you captured on it. And on the front, here's a LED. It's basically a flashlight, so you can turn on some additional light, white light, to help you see stuff. And this lens cap comes off and stays attached to it, so you don't lose it. And the actual lens is a 19mm on here, and the magnification is going to be 1x. So everything you're looking at is going to be 1x magnification. And the bottom has this camera thread mount, so you could stick this on a tripod, you know, for better shots without having to hold the unit in your hand every time. And here's your diopter, and this basically adjusts the display, you know, from the screen to your individual eyesight. So this basically adjusts for eyesight prescription. And on the back, here's your eye guard, and the screen inside is pretty small, so you got to stick this right up inside your eye socket pretty tight. I'm really impressed with how fast this thing turns on. You know, you hold down the power button for about a second, and it comes on within 2 seconds, and it powers off equally as fast. And so that's really nice, because, you know, if you're out walking around, you're not going to have your thermal turned on all the time. So if you see something, or you think you see something and you want to get on thermal, you don't have to worry about this thing taking forever, you know, and possibly the animal or whatever running away while you're still dicking around with your thermal device. Now, since this doesn't have a video output, I'm going to have to, you know, get shots for you by holding up my phone or by holding up the camera to the back of the screen, and that's how I'm going to have to capture the shots for you. So they're not going to be the best quality, but that's the only way I'm going to be able to do it for you. All right, so here's what we're going to be looking at with the thermal. Now, once the wife and the pooch step out more in the open here, I'm going to go ahead and stick the Scout 3 240 up to the camera and cycle through the different palettes for you. Now, they're at about 50 yards, so you'll get a good idea of how it looks and how it works at about that distance. With these Scouts, they don't have a manual focus option on them. They're all fixed focus, and that combined with the 19mm lens and the 320 sensor, you know, it's just about as good as you're going to get out to that distance. You can still easily make out her and the dog pretty easily, and I think it does a good job for, you know, definitely up to 50 yards and potentially up to 75, you know, maybe 100 tops. But certainly as a handheld, you know, scanner or a spotter, you know, I think the Scout 3 240 works pretty well. Now, I'm not a big fan of the insta alert modes. That's probably why seems like they ditched them off their lineup. Just because, you know, insta alert 1 works pretty good, but once you start getting up in 3 and 4, everything just turns red, and it's a solid red. There's no gradients in it, so it kind of makes it hard to tell what's what. As you can see up close, it looks really good. You know, the way they did the fixed focus, it does good from this range to maybe 25 yards, and then past 25 it just starts to get a little blurry. My opinion of the Scout 3 240 is that it's a pretty good little handheld unit. You know, I wouldn't buy one brand new, you know, from a store at full pop, but certainly if I found one on the used market, you know, for a good price something around $1,000, maybe under that, you know, that'd be a hell of a deal for this thing. You know, this thing would work really good as a handheld spotter in addition to another thermal device like a thermal weapon sight or something like that, or thermal clip-on weapon sight. So if you're looking at buying one of these, you know, I'd suggest maybe taking a look at the 640 model. And if you look at the used market, just make sure that the internal battery holds its charge, because from my understanding, FLIR isn't repairing the batteries. They're just, you know, swapping you out with a new unit or giving you credit towards a new unit. And so that's something to consider, you know, if you're looking at buying one of these things. So if you're in the market for a handheld device and you're taking a look at one of these Scout 3 240s, I hope this video helps you out, and thanks for watching.